Hello guys, welcome to another video. Today I will discuss 5 more bands that I tried to get into but couldn't. Similar to what I did in part 1. If you haven't already watched part 1, I recommended you watch it too, along with this video. Like I said, if you like these bands, that's totally okay. Please continue to do so. You get to like something that I don't like. So yeah, don't get too offended or whatever because of this video. And I will get started with band number 1, which is Avenged Sevenfold. Now, Avenged Sevenfold are easily one of the most popular metal bands, for sure. They have a ton of fans and they're very mainstream. And they did change genres over time. They started off as like a melodic metalcore band. Then later they became like a heavy metal band, or like a traditional heavy metal band. And then they, I guess, turned to prog metal, kinda, ish. But apparently the album's hated or something. I wouldn't know because I didn't really listen to it or really research it that much. But yeah, they changed genres over time. But despite that, I'm still not the biggest fan of them. Mainly because of a few reasons. One, the vocals. Never liked the vocals that much from Avenged Sevenfold. They just sound too off to me. They sound like this to me. They're just very unpleasant for me. I mean, they're not that bad, but they're not great. Also, their albums are just way too long. Like, some of their albums can be up to like an hour and 20 minutes long. That's just too long. And like I'm used to albums being like 35 to 50 minutes long. So when albums are longer, sometimes it works, other times it just feels bloated and unnecessary. So yeah, Avenged Sevenfold never really got into them. Their songs just don't really stand out to me. Like I said, the vocals and album lengths just don't quite set right with me. So yeah. Next, I got the Rolling Stones for the second band of the video. And the Rolling Stones, they're not terrible. I just don't like them that much. I mean, they may just be too old or whatever, but I like the Beatles, and they're another British invasion band. But I also don't like the Who, the Kinks, the Yardbirds. Well, it's not that I hate them; they're just to me. Like every British invasion band besides the Beatles, I'm not the biggest fan of, but they do still have a few good songs, like the Rolling Stones in particular, since that's the band we're talking about now. They have a few good songs like Paint It Black and Route 66. Those songs are pretty good. But I just never really got that much into the Rolling Stones and the other British invasion bands besides the Beatles. Because I guess they're just, yeah, too old sounding or just too basic. They were trying to be pop. Well, the Rolling Stones, the Kinks, yeah, they were trying to be pop. They were trying to sell as many records as they could in America and, of course, in the UK. So, yeah, I guess it's just a little too basic and too old for me, which is why I don't really like the British invasion bands that much. So, yeah, the Rolling Stones are just one of the many British invasion bands that I'm not the biggest fan of, besides a few songs. And like I said, I still like the Beatles, but besides the Beatles, I'm not the biggest fan of the British invasion, really. I mean, it was definitely necessary. We definitely needed it. But besides the Beatles, yeah, the Rolling Stones, the Who, the Yardbirds, the Kinks, I'm not the biggest fan of. A few good songs, but yeah, just too not for me. And next, for the third band of the video, I got Disturbed. And there's definitely a lot of new metal bands that can make this list. I mean, there's a lot of new metal bands that I love, since new metal is one of my favorite types of metal. However, Disturbed is one of the new metal bands I'm not the biggest fan of. I guess after the first like two albums, they really were not new metal. They basically abandoned the sound after a while. But that's not why I dislike them. I dislike them because mainly the vocals. I'm not the biggest fan of the vocals. They sound too butt rocky or like too edgy. Like I'm a cool rock star, yeah. It's just not that good. And the lyrics are cheesy and just stupid, at least in my opinion, especially on like the first album. It's just like stupid music, if I'm gonna be honest. And their later stuff is just like forgettable to me. Like they only made it for the radio. At least that's how I see it. So yeah, their early stuff is just too goofy and too stupid for me, but their later stuff is just boring and generic to my ears. So yeah, there's definitely better new metal and alternative metal you could listen to than Disturbed. So yeah, not a big fan of them. And then for number 4, I have Green Day. And you could probably just also insert any pop punk band here, since I basically dislike all of them. And the main reason why I don't like Green Day or any other pop punk bands is because it sounds kind of like, like 14-year-old teenage girl music. I mean, they have a few good songs, but most of their stuff just, I don't like. Pop punk's mainly just too cheesy, too girly, I guess. And I'm not saying that as like an insult per se, just like a reason why I can't get into it. And the lyrics can be kind of stupid as well. They're a little too like cartoonish or whatever. And yeah, I just really never got into Green Day that much. And the other bands of the genre like Blink 182, Sum 41. So yeah, pop punk on paper it sounds like it'd be a good genre. Punk, but with more poppy hooks. Like that doesn't sound too bad. But I just don't like the bands of the genre. I guess like just normal punk rock from like the 70s or whatever would be better for me. There's still some pop influence, but not too much to where it becomes, well, this. So yeah. And for the 5th band of the video, I have Mötley Crüe. And you could probably insert every hair metal band here too, because I'm really not the biggest fan of hair metal. And Mötley Crüe in particular, not the biggest fan of. They have a few good songs like Kickstart My Heart, and I do like the Helter Skelter cover they did. But most of their songs just sound like radio slop basically. Even the earlier stuff I'm not the biggest fan of. And the main reason why I don't like Mötley Crüe and hair metal in general is because the riffs are alright, but the vocals and lyrics and overall vibe are just stupid, in my opinion. I mean, I guess it could be nostalgic for people who grew up in the 80s and early 90s. But hair metal just doesn't sound like good to me. It doesn't even sound like metal most of the time. A lot of the times it sounds more like hard rock or glam rock. And yeah, hair metal is just really, really not for me. I mean, if you're like a middle-aged mom, maybe, but I'm looking for something heavier and something more original and with less stupidity. I know there are like quote unquote better glam metal bands like Wasp, Dokken, Rat, early Twisted Sister. I am aware of them, but even like the heavier, more metallic sounding hair metal bands, I'm really still not the biggest fan of. And yeah, just the genre, both the heavier side and the more commercial and less heavy side, just never really got that into. Definitely glad grunge killed it, because I love grunge a lot more. I mean, hair metal will never like die, because people will always listen to it and people will always have like modern bands like Steel Panther or whatever. And of course, like people will always be nostalgic for the 80s. That's just something that will never go away. However, I am glad that grunge made hair metal not like the biggest thing in the world anymore, because that's definitely something that needed to happen at the music industry at the time. So yeah, hair metal bad, in my opinion. And yeah, those are my picks. Wow, there's a lot of bands I try to get into that are popular that I was never able to like that much. So this video series may go on for a very long time, since there's just so many. So I'm definitely not out of ideas for the series. There will probably be like a part 3, part 4, part 5, part 6, etc. But yeah, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe. And of course, check out my other videos. And of course, comment your own picks in the comments below. I'm eager to see what people say. I am curious. And yeah, that's it for this video, and I'll see you guys later.